things are on it. You want to install certain software, certain packages that are going to help you with your flows or maybe with your deployments. Nginx like this, you would have had to set it up manually if you were to maybe SSH into a server. Then you would install Nginx, you would have to go over to set up maybe your various base routes, where your static files go and all of that. But you could write a simple Ansible playbook that is going to help with that. Then it integrates well into the various cloud providers. For AWS, we have Boto 3, and you can use it without your own custom tool called CloudFormation to write or to bring up your infrastructure, which is the provisioning side of things. Thankfully, with AWS, it supports Python right out of the box with their custom tool called CloudFormation. You write everything in Python, leverages on Boto 3. You're able to use your for loops, your basic Python knowledge just to bring up servers without ever touching your management console. GCP also has various APIs that you could integrate into Python for your infrastructure provisioning, as well as Azure, Microsoft Azure too. And then for the applications, I mean, there are multiple applications you can build with Python. There are multiple frameworks that help us. There is Cherry, there is Flask, there is Django, which is a favorite of mine. If I were to do anything back then, I mean, not the fact that you have a hammer does not mean that every problem is a nail, but Django makes everything look like a nail sometimes. And then for monitoring, as I said earlier, you have your Prometheus and then your Grafana stack as well. Then, so a typical pipeline flow would be right from your, you push code to your GitHub branch. Maybe you have a pipeline or you have a GitHub action that merges or first tests your code, runs all the tests, and if all things go through, all things are green, and one thing never merge on a Friday evening, that one is a free tip. I mean, your holiday, your entire weekend could be messed up. So never merge on a Friday evening. This test run from the test. Once they pass, we go to the server provisioning. If these servers are not already provisioned, you could provision a new server or a new resource on the fly that your application is going to run on. And that you could, let's say, very typical or the very basic you could use when it comes to an AWS point of view is the EC2 servers, which are basically what you would have had in your rooms in terms of servers. For those of us who, well, maybe we can afford servers in our rooms. Your laptop could be one. You could do that. It's at your own thing though. And then next thing would be to deploy applications right onto these servers, and this could all happen in just a single pipeline. So right from testing your server configuration and then provisioning, then the deployment, then the next thing would be to monitor. Monitoring is a very key part of our flow as desktop, as DevOps engineers. I mean, if you see what we live by, this particular infinity circle here, monitoring, and then what's it? Monitoring is part of our mandate. It's part of the culture. If you are not monitoring, then you are not doing anything proper. You can't have a live system and then not be aware of what is happening, what your system metrics are. I mean, what if something goes wrong? Who is going to tell you? Like, if you can't resolve it right before it happens, then you have a serious problem as a developer here. And so initially, this I had prepared for a full-on code flow, but I'll skip that for us. And yeah, one thing that you have to also know is that CI, pipeline thing that I talked about earlier, it does not have to happen on external servers like cloud servers. Locally to producing, you could have your own scripts that could run locally to test your applications right from your systems rather than having to log in somewhere and then pay for extra service. You already have a server in your hands. Your laptops are there. They are good servers if you see them that way. Yeah. And yes, a typical end-to-end automation. One thing one of my trainers that has trained me or mentored me, one thing he has taught me is that if he's going to do something, if he does something once or twice a week, he would automate it. It has to be automated. So here is a typical flow. You have a Flask application that you want to deploy. So you pick the resource that we want to deploy it onto. Here in this case we have the EC2 servers, and then that is going to serve as our infrastructure, and you could use any other cloud hosting platform as well. Then for configuration management, you are going to write playbooks or cookbooks with Ansible or Chef. I'm saying I'll go with Ansible because we are in a Python community, not a Ruby community here. Ansible is written in YAML. I hope you all know what YAML is. We do know how to write YAML, right? It's a very simple markup language. I mean, not so much stress. I will show you a sample of it when I'm done. You are going to Ansible is built on top of Python. You may see it as though it's you writing markup, but then it's pure Python that runs Ansible. And then the next thing would be your pipeline, which orchestrates everything. We are going to use Basic, also another markup language for GitHub actions that we are going to use. And inside our orchestration, tests are going to happen, which you would use PyTest for, then Flake 8, which is one very great tool that I use. For the server, for our application, it's a Flask application. For our server, I mean the application server, not the bare metal server or the resource server that I'm deploying on. You are going to use Nginx, and then Nginx is going to act as your reverse proxy. Then Ganican acts as the proxy, the application, your Flask application or Django applications internal server that's going to route dynamic content and all of that. Then for monitoring, you are going to maybe create scripts that utilize requests. Then your OSUtil packages, you have the app packages as well from Python, and you create a full-on observability suite from that. Now, some key takeaways that from my journey with DevOps so far is that automate every single thing. If you do that, I mean, he was right. If you do it more than once, automate it. It's much better to have something that you could easily come and then run a particular script. That's whatever you want to do for you. Does that easily, rather than having to go through the step every single process. I mean, it helps you learn the process, but after learning the challenge, even automation is also something that you learn. So it just covers to kill two birds with one stone. Then your infrastructure, try as much as possible to not build your infrastructure via GUI. Use infrastructure as code. Use Python, use Boto3, use CloudFormation, use Terraform hidden. It's very easy and then to manage that way. All your tools, you could create your own, let me say, DevOps stack, and then own it and know how to manage it. Create scripts that run every stage of the process for you. And another thing is also Ansible for your configuration management. Ansible is something easy to learn. It ties into all other platforms as well. They have built-in packages. I think some few years back, a year or so, they have plugins for various cloud providers. So now you could actually build infrastructure right from Ansible rather than using the separate tools to build your resource. Then you want to start small. You don't want to wait for your project to get big before you now start migrating to use a DevOps workflow or integrating a DevOps workflow into your project. I mean, it may be, you would get there, but then it would be a lot more stressful than if you were to start right from the basics. Then I'll leave you with some tools that you start with. So photo 3 for the AWS infrastructure. You could take a look at Ansible and then write your first playbook. My first playbook was getting my server to call say something. It's very simple, but then I mean it's something that I learned and now I use Ansible. Then also build a simple CI pipeline, something very simple. I was discussing with one of my colleagues here that one thing that we are going to do right from here is anytime we deploy on a free version of Vessel, anytime one person pushes and then his code is merged into the main branch or the dev branch, it doesn't get deployed because we are not on the paid package. So what do? I'm going to set up a pipeline to deploy directly as me using my permissions. That way, he can deploy, he can push, pass test, merge into the main branch, and then all things will get deployed as though I were the one, all because I work on a pipeline for that. And one other thing is also, you have to monitor your deployments. So monitoring scripts, they are very important for us. You can write it all by yourself, go through a bit of research, and then you can get some to work with. Now, I'm going to leave you with every manual process you delay, automating today's hours of engineering time lost this year. Python makes DevOps accessible, powerful, and then really scalable. So I have quite a lot of examples over on my GitHub. I am ready to share with you. We have various labs for these various tools. All of these are built using Python, right from monitoring stacks to configuration with Ansible. So over here, this is a simple GitHub workflow. And then for Ansible, I also have that right in my repo. So you could follow, if you are interested in maybe starting your DevOps journey, you could check me out on LinkedIn. It's Eugene Sewor, or you could follow and then go and clone all the DevOps repos in my GitHub account. They are all public and accessible to everyone. Yeah, so thank you very much.